know. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll call our meeting to order. Let's stand for prayer and pledge of allegiance. Call on our city attorney to lead us, please.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you, God, for each day of life as it's a gift. Lord, we thank you for the work that you've done in our lives, that you are going to do in our lives. God, we just stand on that promise that you finish everything that you start. Lord, I pray for our city tonight that we would be guided by your Holy Spirit, that we would be guided into truth and doing what's in the best interest of the public. I pray that anything that would hinder that would just not have its way. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call, please.
John Kitcher,
Here.
Toya Shropshire,
Here.
Dennis Smith,
Here.
Steve Smith,
Here.
Randy Chitwood,
Here.
Brianna Brakefield, Yolanda Thompson. Here. Jimmy Trammell.
Here.
Thank you. There are no petitions from the audience. For tonight, we'll start with item 3, department head reports. Building inspector, no report. Emergency management, recognize Johnny Jansen.
Well, the only thing I've got today is just going to let you know that we're continuing to go collect the acid for the city, for all the departments to do the spraying and things like that. The place that we get it right now is in Coweta. From what I understand, they are getting ready to, or they have already bought their own machine. This is a state product that the state brings in and then allows the different towns and counties to go and collect it from that point. But they're buying their own machine, so that's probably going to come to an end. I'm not really sure where we'll be having to go to get the acid after that. But that's maybe something the city would like to consider themselves, is buying one of the machines that would make that. It costs about $7,000 to get up and running, but that would be enough to produce every department. That'd be enough for every department in the city to have plenty of product.
Is that COVID spray?
Yes.
That solution would be able to be used in any of our equipment, is that right?
Yep. We could use it in the equipment that we're using now. That's basically what everybody's spraying with currently. So just be us being able to produce it here versus going and getting it. And that's going to come to an end eventually. I just don't know when that'll be. You know, the state's producing it now, kind of like the PPE. You know, we was able to get state PPE for a while, but then they shut it off. And they basically provide it for us until it gets to a point where they feel like you can go buy it yourself. Once the market gets back up to where, you know, a person can go buy it themselves, then the state usually doesn't continue to provide it. And that's kind of where this is going to get to eventually. It's not there yet, but it'll eventually come to a point where they expect us to buy our own equipment.
If we invested in that equipment now, would that be equipment that would that expense be reimbursable to us?
I would think that you could get it through the CARES Act. They've kind of changed a little bit of the funding. Originally, it was set up to where anything over $3,300 FEMA was going to cover, but now they've changed that, and the CARES Act money is going to cover up to $10,000. Anything over $10,000, then you would submit to FEMA for beyond $10,000.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, what about the county? Do they need a machine too, or what?
Well, they
sprayer?
do.
Can we partner?
I don't.
The problem is, can we partner with them and do it through the emergency management in one machine, emergency management, and funnel this through the emergency management, Mr. Mayor, and see what we can do one thing, you know?
Sure.
I have mentioned it to the commissioners. I don't think that they're ready to do that yet.
Okay.
But eventually that's gonna get to a point where they have to.
So, yeah, okay.
Are they
So
available?
perhaps present that opportunity.
There you go.
Yes, there you go. That'd
There
be
you go.
great if you
Yeah.
would, and then we can maybe get them to go along with it.
And then let our emergency management manage the system and.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. We could do that.
Are the machines available, or are there a waiting list?
There's a waiting list. I mean, I think it's gonna, I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a month or two to get one, even if you order one now, you know, and it's gonna just get worse as more, agencies become, you know, realize that it's gonna get cut off, they're gonna have to go buy their own, there's just gonna be more people, the wait's gonna get longer.
How about the material to make your mix with?
Oh, that's easy, it's just salt and water,
Oh, okay, okay,
It's electrolyte salt and water.
yeah, just salt and water,
okay.
table salt at that, so.
What about the machine that we're using now, like the golf course and the rec center? I think everybody, don't they all have their own machines?
Yes.
Golf course, so will this replace that, or will they continue to do that, or?
No, that's just, the machines that they have right now are just to spray.
Okay,
So, and what they're spraying in them is this material already, we're just going to get it for them.
okay.
And instead of going and getting it, if we bought the machine to make it, we'd just be making it here
Gotcha.
in town instead of going somewhere to get it.
All right,
So if we were able to do that, that would be an ongoing benefit for us.
Yeah, because it does way more than just, you know, COVID. It, you know, your flu season, you know, any other viruses that may come around, I mean, it would take care of any of those kinds of.
Rec center all the year round for,
Is there a chance that they may use something like that in schools?
Yes, they already have it
Yep.
in a lot of the schools already.
Okay, so we could make our own if we had,
Yeah, if you had the machine to make it, then you just make your own.
we can sell it, the stuff to the county and make a little profit.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold
One way or
on
the
now.
other.
Hold on now, Council Trammell.
Right now, currently, we're pushing up to 300 as a total, but our active numbers are at 58, so
Okay.
that 300 number scares a lot of people, but, you know, when you look at active, we're at 58 countywide.
okay.
With 6 deaths.
Yes. And that's changed a little bit from when this thing first started. It seemed like anybody that passed away that, you know, from some respiratory illness that also tested positive for COVID, they gave it a COVID death. Okay, now it's kind of just the opposite. If you pass away from a respiratory disorder and you test positive, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a COVID death. We had several of them that have passed away recently that tested positive, but they didn't put them down as a COVID death due to the doctor's recommendation.
Glad to hear that. Well, not glad to hear people dying, but glad to hear the diagnoses
Yeah.
are more accurate.
Right.
So, Johnny, you and I should get together in the next week or so.
Okay, I'll get you that
It is about this.
information. I'll bring it to you later
Okay.
this week.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thanks.
Fire Department, recognize Mr. Chief B.K. Young.
Thank you. Our calls were up a little bit last month, but that was that storm that rolled through. Myself and the mayor were talking earlier today just about how all the departments worked really well together, and even the citizens were coming out and pretty much helping themselves. You know, it wasn't just us helping them, but they were getting out and helping their neighbors. So that was a pretty cool thing that we both touched on. But that's why our calls, we look back, we had a little bit of spike, but that night there was quite a few calls that got logged, and PD and street department, everybody was running around. So that's where we saw the spike on that. But other than that, daycares and schools getting ready to go back in. We've been doing a lot of inspections there, just doing their annual fire safety inspections. So that's pretty much what we've been knocking out, getting ready for the school year and all that stuff to start back up. Y'all have anything for me?
Thank you, B.K.
Yes, sir.
Golf course, no report today. Library,
I don't have a report unless you guys have some questions for me about library stuff.
no.
No? Okay, thank you.
thank you, Carrie. Park Cemetery, no report today. Police Department. Chief Nichols.
Really don't have anything tonight unless you all have questions, but I did want to advise you that we did get our money reimbursement for the computers that we purchased just recently. We got that money back from the state.
Good.
That was quick.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Rec Center. Welcome, Jessica Long.
Hi. I don't have much either, but I just wanted to kind of say hi. It's day 2, so I'm trying to breathe and just kind of process everything. And we've spent a lot of time yesterday visiting with each staff member. We've got to get them assigned to their correct job position. I know you all passed job titles the 1st of June at that meeting, and so we've got to make sure everyone's in the right job title at the right step and range and all of that. So I'm gonna make sure we get that on the rec center agenda for this month and let that go through the process and get everybody approved. And then the other major thing we're battling right now is the software for billing. It's just a mess, and we can't get our software company to help us. And so I spent some time today in Claremore at their rec center visiting with Mitch, who's the manager over there, and he showed me everything their system can do and offered to help train our employees if we go with that system. So we're now in the process of getting some bids on some different software systems, because we've got to do something. The girls are really frustrated, so we've got to do something. So
Is that the original software system?
yes, yeah. And I'm talking zero customer
2005,
service.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah, something like that, it's
Yeah.
And they aren't aware of how to do the billing and
yeah,
kind of.
pretty antiquated now, so, yeah.
Yeah, so, and we've had Sylvia has come over and kind of helped a
Yeah.
little, but it's all been changed since she's been there, so. we've
They
gotta do
they built that system to help, I think his name was Morgan Masterson. He worked with them at the time, and he developed that system independently, and I think that was his name, I could be wrong, when they did that, because he was the first director, and so.
It's time for an update.
Okay.
So you and I should discuss, have some discussion about that tomorrow.
Yes, I've got some numbers from Claremore on what they're paying and what it would cost us, and I think there'll be an initial pretty big fee up front to switch, but then the annual fee would be similar to what we're paying now, so maybe we can work that into our
You
budget.
got lots of money.
So I hear.
Any other questions for Jessica? Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Street Department? No report? All right, we'll move on to item 4, Mayor's Report. Discussion and possible action regarding a resolution supporting continued participation in the Main Street program. We have tonight our Main Street Director. Recognize Ms. Jenny Van Buskirk.
Hey guys, so before you have the 4 points, and basically what that contract is, I'm gonna be super brief today, but what that contract is every year we have to send to Oklahoma Main Street that saying that the city supports us and that you guys basically want to continue services with us, with you guys. So the 4-point approach is mentioned in that contract. So I think he said that you guys have copies, and it kind of tells about what that is. We're getting ready to produce a video that kind of explains how that ties in locally for us, because every Main Street is different, and this is something that's supposed to kind of be molded according to the personalized downtown that you have. And then on top of that, just a few updates on what we have going on while I have your attention. So we met with Sepulpa Main Street. They have an entire downtown streetscape plan, and we met with their landscaper who, he's great with landscaping, but he also has a lot of experience with downtown landscaping, which I'm learning is quite different. And so he was super knowledgeable on some of the do's and the don'ts, and so we're gonna continue to meet with him, and he's gonna come down and consult for us specifically about what we could do as far as greenery and plants and bump outs, and so we're kind of building our toolbox right now for that. So that's a big project that we have going on. And then also August 20th, we're gonna have a cruise night. So we invited some car clubs that are gonna come downtown, and just anyone come downtown and you can cruise kind of like the old days. And so we're gonna do that on Main. There are gonna be food trucks, but it kind of plays into social distancing because a lot of them will be in their own cars versus you could still shop late shops open late. So it's kind of a happy medium. So do you have any questions for me?
So you take reservations for that, or?
No,
Or is just one of the show-up things?
It's the first one, and I'm gonna believe it's gonna be massive, and I'm gonna need to take reservations later, but I don't know. So this is the first one. We're gonna see how it goes, and then hopefully it's a monthly thing.
When is it?
Maybe August 20th. So it's the third Thursday in August. We're not gonna have like the typical third Thursday that we've
Dust off your cruiser.
been having.
I've
Yeah.
got that Jeep, I just brought a
I
Jeep.
heard you bought a Jeep.
So, yeah, bring that Jeep down. I have a 2013 Chevy Cruze. I'm gonna be rolling up and down. Maybe I'll wash it for this. I don't know. But Yeah, if you have any questions.
You want to have a question for Jenny?
Sweet. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So this is item A, and we've heard from Jenny. The resolution is as follows: a resolution supporting continued participation in Main Street programs. Whereas the Oklahoma Main Street Center has been established in the Oklahoma Department of Commerce to assist small towns and cities to develop a public-private effort to revitalize their Main Street areas. And whereas the City of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma desires to continue participation in the Oklahoma Main Street Center. Now, therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pryor Creek, Section 1, that the City of Pryor Creek supports the participation of the 2020-2021 Oklahoma Main Street Center with the specific goal of revitalizing the historic Central Business District using the Main Street four-point approach to economic revitalization. Section 2, that the City of Pryor Creek understands that the Main Street approach is a long-term process that results in a continual effort to maintain and enhance downtown historic commercial district. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Smith. Is there discussion on the motion?
Resolution number,
Resolution number 2020-7.
will you amend your motion to include that as part of it, the resolution part of the motion?
I'll amend my motion to include.
Resolution number, yeah,
2020-7.
2020-7. Would you amend your,
Second.
amended his second? Very good. Any other discussion? Thank you, Councilor Trammell. Call for vote?
Petrop,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries. I'd like to skip to item F because our friend Chris Calvert is here, and he is going to make a presentation by Fiber Interactive Technologies representative Chris Calvert.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I understand during the last meeting, there were some questions about the latest bids that came in for the expansion of the Wi-Fi network. And Troy, I apologize to both of you. I'm probably going to stand in your way here.
Not a problem. Go
But,
ahead.
so I thought I would just take just a few minutes. I've got about 4 or 5 slides, and then I've got some other slides for questions I anticipate. So what I'll do is go ahead and cover that. I think I can answer most of the questions with these 4 or 5 slides. So, there we go. Okay, so whenever we try to figure out where we're going to place these access points to provide Wi-Fi for the citizens to use, the thing that I want to point out is this project has always been earmarked to cover outdoor areas. This is not intended to be put in such a way that it would penetrate homes, provide free internet to people in their homes, because the cost of that would skyrocket tremendously. We'd have to put access points or the access to the network, about every other home instead of on each block, instead of one on each block. And so it would skyrocket the cost. So what we decided to do was be providing an outdoor area. Now we selected places like the park, the pool, the rec center. There's 8 access points in this building that people can use. In fact, I'm sure a lot of you probably have jumped on that in the past. But when we deploy those outside, there are some things that we need to be cognizant of. Is there available low power voltage? They have to have electricity to run. So is there a vertical asset for us to mount it on? So we use, light poles, telephone poles. We use basically a building. We use anything we can. In fact, we just recently took down one off of the junior high that had been there for years off of the gym because of the obvious reason that they were rebuilding it. So we have one over by the library mounted close. We've got them all over the town. In fact, one of the slides that I have, don't hold me to the number, we'll see on a slide or two, but about 142 or 44 of the access points are deployed today. So we've got a significant number of these. Again, we're on phase 7 of the project here. And can we mount on that vertical assets? Just because there's a vertical asset, i.e. a pole there, can we mount? Sometimes there's restrictions from other devices that are putting out radio rays radio waves that keep us from being able to mount to it, because they would conflict with each other. So there's those types of things. And will it provide good street level coverage? In other words, if we put it too high, it's gonna be tough for us with our phones to be able to connect to it. If we put it behind something, it's only gonna cover a small area. So we've really gotta lay this out in such a way that it makes sense for, to get the biggest bang square footage wise for our buck. So, where is this gonna cover? And sorry for those online, you may not be able to hear me, but I'm gonna point out these, the red here, this is phase 7A. We broke it into two different phases this time because of the anticipated funding coming in 2 waves. And so 7A will get us basically what you see there. This will be the first time we've crossed the railroad tracks. We'll talk a little bit about that real quick, because the former mayor and I have had several conversations about that. We wanted to go west, but we couldn't. And it was primarily because of cost, because we were gonna eat up about 30 to 40% of our budget for a single phase by just crossing the railroad tracks. Well, that was 2 years ago in June that we did the last phase of the project. Since then, Union Pacific has made some changes, and they have dramatically cut the cost. In fact, instead of it costing us between $25,000 and $35,000 to cross railroad tracks, it's gonna cost us $5,500. So that would made it real appealing for us to go ahead and cross the tracks. So this is phase 1. I don't know, you can't see it but you see the red polygons there that you see in there. That is where we're gonna actually cross. So that first one on the right is right there by Shoulder Line, and we go west to the softball complex. Okay, then the second phase, and I apologize, this is even more difficult to see, are the green polygons. Now they're kind of spread out here. So as you can see, we stopped here the first time. Now we've extended on west all the way over to by the American Legion, and now we've actually extended down by the softball fields, over here by Bobby Buck Park. We're starting to touch a little bit of the football stadium. We have plans to make a lot more penetration there, but with all the changes that are going on with the baseball moving and that type of thing, that's still something that we want to pursue, because they're still going to use that complex. So we basically just kind of made our first foray into that. So with that, we have 19 access points that are going up as part of these 2 phases. So we're going to have a very, very good baseline for really expanding the west side of the tracks. So this is the total coverage, both the red and the green. So the good thing about this is that once we have basically this arterial built and all the fiber that is ran, now in fact I'll show you, this is where we're going to be running fiber as part of this project, goes all the way from right there by Charlie's Chicken to by S&J Plumbing, for those that know the city real well. The great thing about that is, because we built that main line there, we're building that big enough that we can go through here and start splitting all the directions to go north and south, or northeast and southwest, which is really the way it's laid out. But it gives us the opportunity to really expand that very aggressively. All the assets over there are all aerial. There's very little buried over there, because once you start putting fiber in the ground, the price triples. And so since a lot of this is aerial, it gives us a way to really expand. So again, I feel really good about what we're doing with this phase of the project. There were 2 things that were different in this version of the project that we want to talk about. So first was the railroad crossing. We just talked about that. So the one thing I want to warn you on the timeline is, we committed a timeline, but we're getting feedback from, now that we've actually started pursuing this with them, getting feedback that, well, we're going to be real cautious about sending our people out and those types of things to do if they actually have to have somebody on site whenever we cross the railroad tracks. And so we may have to fight a little bit of that scheduling conflict there. The second thing is, we changed manufacturers on the access points. So Avaya on the left was the access point that we were using. Well, they decided that they were getting out of the networking business and concentrate on the phone business. And so that meant that we lost access to that product. So we moved from Avaya to another enterprise class access point called Ruckus. And that is the type of access point. Now the great thing about that is, the other thing that saved us money there was that this access point has the antenna that transmits that signal integrated into it, so we don't have to buy the access point and the antenna like we worked before. So that saves us money also by going to this access point. And it has a superior coverage range because of the antenna design and those types of things. And the second thing was, or the last thing was, that because we made a change to go from one manufacturer to another, and this is I'll almost say it's technical Racco filter here on, because I could go real deep on it, but they no longer can, if somebody signs in, I'll just make it put to you this way, if I sign in and I'm on the east side of the tracks, and then I roam to the west side of the tracks, I would have to, at some point, I would lose connection and it would block my traffic. And I'd have to remember to launch my browser again and then reconnect. Well, because we have two different manufacturers. Well, so what we did was we pulled all the intelligence out of the access points for being able to determine, for doing this Captive Portal login splash page, and we centralized it so that it doesn't matter if we have 10 different manufacturers of access points moving forward, then we will all work the same and we will all seamlessly roam. So you can move from one side of the city to the other side of the city once we do this implementation. We took a little bit of a hit on cost because we already had that 144 access points deployed that we have to go back and support with this new Captive Portal. So that cost us a little bit of a build out cost there to be able to support. Otherwise, we could have got more access points. So I guess what I'm saying is we've got a pretty significant investment in capital here for these two phases. But moving forward, when we spend that same amount of money, we'll see big growth in the number of access points because we've made this investment in this phase. So, any questions?
Talk about schools.
I'm sorry?
Talk about schools. We talked about where they're.
Okay, so I want to go back to my first statement was, what was this intended for?
Outdoor.
This is intended for outdoor use only, street level coverage. It wasn't intended to penetrate a home. If you happen to live in a home where you get coverage, good for you. That wasn't the intent, but good for you, you got it. The reason I even bring this up, Troy and I were talking earlier, is I want to make sure that the students on the west side and on the rest of Pryor, where we have the rest of these APs deployed, think that that's going to fix their problem from being able to work from home, to be students at home, because it will not. It was never intended to. Again, the cost would go up 5 or 6x to be able to do it to where we had coverage everywhere. So there's other ways of doing that are better. I actually did have a conversation with the school about another technology to be able to support them. We were kind of running out of time, running up against it, and they, like most schools, think they're not going to have to worry too much about at home. We'll see. My prediction is that we're going to probably have to scramble here before long to get that fixed, but we'll see. But the good thing is we have the technology, we have the capability. It's just us going and executing on it. So,
Is this an American company?
I'm sorry.
Is it an American company?
The manufacturer,
Yes.
yes, they are manufactured in the good old USA. Oh, well, let me rephrase that. They're assembled in the USA, manufactured in Taiwan, not China. So.
All right.
As a
Excellent.
matter of fact, the problem that we have with that other access point and with some of the other products that we're utilizing is because they are China-based, we were having problems getting access to them. And so I changed to a different manufacturer on a lot of the products for this phase. There's one I couldn't. I had to go with the China product because it just works. But it's only a $99 piece per location of this, so it's an insignificant dollar amount. Oh, come on.
Who has a question? I knew
Thank you.
Troy would.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, we already have.
Very good.
Did mine.
Okay, I just want to ask you one thing. I just want to point out one thing. Is the network being utilized? I just want to point this one thing out. I pulled this right before we left today. So here's an example of the number of connections on the network. You can see that at any given time, we're averaging, this one shows online now 106, but you can see it was as high as 120, 125. And over the last 24 hours, there's been 1,076 different folks on this network. So it's getting utilized. So I just want to point that out. This is the bandwidth. One of the questions that we had earlier about was the bandwidth. Several years ago, the school had a panic moment because we found out that they were actually violating something with E-rate that would allow that the city was using the circuit and they shouldn't have been. So we scrambled and got the city off of that circuit and moved them to the Wi-Fi circuit. Well, as you can imagine, everything started going through the roof as far as the amount of usage that was on the Wi-Fi circuit. Well, I'm glad to say now that on average, you see there, we're averaging about 25 to 30 meg out of 100 meg. And if you look at this, you can see this is since the first of the year, and you can see when we brought the last city building off of it in March, you see the big drop here. We dropped from about 75 meg down to 25 to 30 meg just by getting that sold. Now, the only thing that's running on that circuit is the Wi-Fi. So we've got room for growth here. I think this expansion, somewhere down the road, we're gonna expand enough that we're gonna have to grow that, but I think we still got some good room for growth now, so.
All right, thank you.
All right?
Very good, very good. Any questions for Chris? Thank you for the presentation, Chris.
Absolutely.
We'll move to item G, discussion possible action regarding removing from the table item 6F of the July 21st, 2020 council agenda. Who put that on the table and who seconded it? Who made that motion and second? All right, as I recall, it was Trammell and Smith.
You guys have the name.
Yes, we do.
I think I made the motion.
I don't remember.
I believe you're right, Mr. Mayor. I could be wrong.
Mr. Trammell, would you like to move to?
I will make the motion to remove this item from the table.
Mr. Smith, would you like to second that motion?
Second that motion.
Motion made and second to remove from table.
Seconded by Shropshire, it looks like.
Was it
Okay,
second?
I'll make the motion.
It was
it was
seconded
seconded
by
by
Shropshire.
I'll make
Very good, thank you. All right, so, excuse me. Motion second to remove from table, call for vote.
Shropshire?
Yes.
Nance?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Chipwood?
Yes.
Trammell?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hitcher?
Yes.
Item H, discussion possible action regarding awarding the Wi-Fi extension bid for RFP 2020-0610, Phase 7A and 7B to Fiber Interactive Technologies in the amount of $200,207.26 to be paid from Google Wi-Fi account 464655422. Other bid received from Vive Broadband in the amount of $501,980.78. Is there a motion?
Make
I'll
that
make it.
motion. Okay.
Motion Chitwood, second Shropshire. Discussion.
I just want to say thanks to Google for, they've done all of these phases. I also want to say thanks to Mr. Calvert, because if the public would know what we went through when the first phase of this thing, when it first started, and I mean when we met down in the chamber building to get this thing started, we've come a long way since that first meeting. And I mean, I want to say thanks to Chris, because I was lost and he found me.
So by now, and whatever year that was, by now, Google has invested system.
Yep.
And they are the ones who have primarily been funding this. Other discussion? Call for vote?
Nance?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Chipwood?
Yes.
Trammell?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hitcher?
Yes.
Shropshire?
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving back up to item B, possible executive session pursuant to Oklahoma Statute Title 25, Section 307C11, for the purposes of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development, including the transfer of property, financing, and the creation of a proposal to entice a business to remain or to locate within the jurisdiction of the city of Pryor Creek, where the public disclosure of the matter discussed would interfere with the development of products or services or would violate the confidentiality of the business. Ricky Hayes will be appearing by phone. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion Thompson, second, was that Nance?
Yeah.
second Nance. Call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance.
Yes.
Very well, council will adjourn to the conference room. Item C, discussion and possible action regarding resuming regular session. There was no action taken during the executive session. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion Nance, second Smith. Call for vote.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Item D, discussion possible action regarding removing from the table item 5E of the June 16, 2020 council agenda. That would be Shropshire and Smith, who made the motion for table and who seconded. Is there a motion? Shropshire.
I'll make the motion that we untable it, take it off table.
Second.
Second Smith. Call for vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item E, discussion and possible action regarding contract renewal with Retail Attractions for fiscal year 2020, 2021 in the amount of $4,000 per month for 12 months from General Outside Services account 02-201-5075. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion Smith, second Chitwood. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
No.
Motion carries. Item I. Discussion of possible action regarding removing from table item 6R of the July 21, 2020 council agenda.
Who's that?
Trammell, and Smith.
That was
Make a
Trammell.
motion.
Motion Trammell,
Second.
second Smith. Call for vote.
Hitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item J,
Wait,
discussion.
I'm sorry. I need to abstain. I wasn't here.
Oh,
Was I here?
Thompson
21st.
removes
I
her.
don't think I was here.
You
do
weren't.
they have to abstain?
Do I need?
No,
To remove.
no,
Okay.
not on a vote from table.
Okay.
Motion carries.
Didn't let you call it.
Item J, discussion possible action regarding an expenditure in the amount of $44,000 to Graber, $44,000 to Graber and Associates PC Architects for library renovation project from general unallocated reserve and access account 02-201-5041. This payment corresponds with previously agreed upon payment in phases scheduled as the percentage of phase is completed. After the payment is logged, 100% of the design development phase and 100% of the construction documents are complete. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion?
Yeah, one thing I'd like to bring up is, I think, I like the drawings, I think everything looks great, is they've still yet got the, in the kitchen, they have the old sink. Remember, and before you were here, Mr. Mayor, we had problems with that old sink in that old kitchen. That needs to be looked at because.
Are you talking about
In the library.
The library.
And, you know, when there's, the original sink's still in that drawing, and you might just bring that up and say we need to replace that sink area. I think, and, but it needs to be brought up to remember, because that was a lot of problems, if I remember right from, if I can ask the, if that was a lot of problems. We had to plumb around that and everything else, so that's just a minor detail, but that needs to be looked at, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it can stay, it doesn't actually drain into a drain, it goes into a pump and then up the wall and
Yeah.
around, so we probably ought to just remove it, because I
Yeah.
don't think we can repair it.
I would imagine that that could probably be done within the contract.
It can, but I wanted to point that out, when Mr. Graber might make you do something, because that just needs to, you know, that's in the drawings, pretty detailed in the drawing, so,
The plumbing's messed up.
yeah, so, yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes. Other discussion? Call for vote?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item K, discussion possible action regarding removing from the table item 6S of the July 21, 2020 council agenda.
Trammell and Smith.
That's
Make a
Trammell.
motion.
Smith. Motion Trammell,
Second.
second Smith. Call for vote?
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item L, discussion possible action regarding an expenditure in the amount of $36,985 to Graber and Associates, PC Architects, for Police and Fire Emergency Center project from general unallocated reserves in excess account 02-201-5041. This payment corresponds with the previously agreed upon payment in phase schedule as a percentage of the phase is completed. After the payment is logged, 100% of the design development phase, 58% of the construction documents, and 0% of the construction administrative fee are complete. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion.
I've got two comments. On drawing A2.1, when we built the A2.1, you, in the middle of it, you'll see there's workstations, and then in the middle. I want to, if you look at the size of those workstations, we looked at the size of it whenever, I've made the same mistake in the City Hall building in here, and Eva and Cheryl brought that to my attention. We went from 8 to 6 or whatever it was in there and made them larger. It's just a minor detail, but it was so small and confined, you couldn't get, James is grinning, I don't know what he's gonna be sleeping. So, but anyway, but I would suggest that you look at the size of those and see if they're, because I think right now, you know what I'm talking about, Mr. Mayor?
I do.
Okay, look at the size of that and see what that is. The other thing I would like to see in this thing is, I'd like to see an option 1 possibility. Originally, we'd had design of a carport, I'm gonna call it, out the whole back end of it. I don't know what that would cost, but I would think that you could do as an option 1 to see what cut the bid, that carport, all the way down from the fire station down. And if it costs too much, you can always take the option out to see what it is. Possibility of that, because that was in the original plan of something a long time ago, so I'd like to see both of those.
Are you suggesting that we add expense?
Yes, I am.
And sir, if I can clarify, is he suggesting that, from what I've had 2 weeks to prepare for this response to, that I like to fluff things up in that building, so I can't wait for this one. But are you suggesting now that I've taken too much out? So, if I can explain, sir, if I can.
Yes, I think we need to.
Just, I'm gonna apologize to everybody else. This is mostly for Mr. Trammell here. So, I know that you're new to council, and I've been working on this for 2 weeks. But, back in early 19, I think many of you know, we had a mayor at the time who was a big pain in the butt. But however, we had a meeting back then with police. We told the mayor at that point, or he told the architect at that point, what the cost estimate needed to be, and the architect said, hey, we'll be fine at that number. So even though the mayor is a huge pain in the butt, this wasn't his fault that the estimate was so far off. That's the only time I'm going to defend that mayor. So when we built this, and when BK and I and Chief sit down and try to put stuff in this, yeah, we went all out because we thought we were okay on the numbers, but then we learned that we weren't. And so we have downsized dramatically. We don't have, we have smaller offices. We have the smaller workspaces. We have almost zero storage because now we don't have the storage on the outside like we were supposed to. We only have one automatic gate opener. I mean, we're down to nitpicking that far of what we want. We have zero covered parking. We're trying to get the tile from a local vendor instead of going all out with one of the construction guys. We now know that they've decreased the fire department on their bays. I think it's gonna be smaller than they are now. But having said that, I'm asking you, please, we're this far along. It's taken us 15, 16, 17 months to get this far along. you know, if it's something easy as just as the workspaces, I've looked at it, I'm pretty comfortable. I think the difference is I want them just like that, but I don't want the 3-sided. I was just planning on doing the 2-sided when we made it smaller. So I think that would probably make a little bit of a difference. But I just don't want to go back and have to try to redo all these.
We don't want, this is
So-
just, they can change that, you can change that on the run. One thing that's good about, the construction manager, they have what you call design build. I can't think that wasn't what they called it, and I'm what design build, but as they go, they make modifications, if they see something that needs to be changed. We saved enough money on this building to pay for and so you'll save money as you work with these people right here. You'll get some of the other stuff, and I think, but again, I'd like to see that deal put back on the back, possibilities.
And so would we, but I think.
It's a good reminder to council that the numbers we're dealing with are estimate numbers.
That's right.
Yeah, and so as we get closer, first thing I just wanted the mayor, or I want this guy, sorry, Mr. Trammell, just, we went from fluff to now I've taken too much out, so let's just.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right.
Thank you, James. Other discussion?
Could I ask a question? Okay?
Sure.
We've got this here, and would you entertain the idea of bidding this with the amendment of that deal if Mr. Ritchie would let us, or how that is, with that in there, or leave it out, or or bid the,
Are you talking about your suggestion about the
Yeah.
size of the
Option
workstation
one.
and the option one?
well, the workstations really doesn't make it, I'm just talking about option one, when you bid it.
That is really not something that would be appropriate
Okay,
in the motion. The motion is to pay Mr. Graber for his work.
thank you, okay.
And so we certainly would want to make that recommendation to
All right,
Mr.
thank you.
Graber.
All right.
Other discussion? Very good. Call for vote?
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Cruikshank,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 5, city attorney report. It appears nothing from city attorney.
No report.
Thank you, sir. Item 6, discussion possible action on consent agenda. Item A, approved minutes of the July 21, 2020 council meeting. Item B, approved payroll purchase orders through August 7, 2020. Item C, approved claims for purchase orders through August 4, 2020. Item D, acknowledge receipt of deficient purchase orders. Item E, discussion possible action regarding reappointment of Mike Considine to seat number 4 of the Board of Adjustment, term ending August 31, 2023. Item F, discussion possible action regarding proposal from Coker & Coker Incorporated, including an expenditure of $25,000. Excuse me, for fiscal year ending June 30, 2020, and fiscal year ending June 30, 2021, from General Outside Service Accounting Account 02-201-5073. Item G, discussion possible action regarding change order number 1 for Dog Pound Road and Southwest 9th Street Box and Pavement Project in the amount of $9,800 for removal of existing structures, which was not included in the bid packet. Item H, discussion possible action regarding increasing golf course fees from regular play at a rate of $2, making the weekday rate at $24.50 and the weekend rate at $25.50. Item I, discussion possible action regarding an expenditure in the amount of $3,400 to Equiture DSS Corporation for yearly maintenance agreement with Pryor Creek Police Department. This is year 3 of a 5-year maintenance agreement for a voice logger from Police Technology Account 02-215-5260. Excuse me. Item J, discussion possible action regarding authorizing mayor to sign a lease agreement with Lakeland Office Systems Incorporated for one Canon IRDX C5740 copier and one Canon IRDX C5735 copier under state contract at the Pryor Creek Police Department, effective August 20, 2020, when the current Xerox lease agreement expires, for a total value of $3,398.52 per year, or $283.21 per month from Police Repair and Maintenance Account 02-215-5091. Item K, discussion possible action regarding authorizing mayor to sign a lease agreement renewal with Xerox Corporation for one Xerox C405DN under state contract for the Pryor Creek Animal Shelter effective August 20, 2020, when the current lease expires, for a value of $669.60 per year or $55.80 per month from Animal Shelter Repair and Maintenance Account 02-216-5091. Item L, discussion possible action regarding authorizing mayor to sign a memorandum of agreement and understanding regarding Mays County 911 upgrade and improvements to hardware and software system for a grant in the amount of $100,000. These are the items on the consent agenda. Which items would council choose to remove?
A.
Item A,
G.
H.
item G, item H. Are there any others? All right. All of the items except item A, G, and H. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Make that motion.
Motion Smith,
Second.
second Chitwood. Call for vote.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nam,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item A, approval of minutes of July 21, 2020 council meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion Ketcher, second Smith. Discussion. Call for vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Abstain.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nam,
Abstain.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item G, discussion of possible action regarding change order number 1 for Dog Pound Road and Southwest 9th Street Box and Pavement Project in the amount of $9,800 for removal of existing structures, which was not included in the bid packet. Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Smith. Discussion.
My question is, I wasn't here when this bid, the total project cost, this doesn't exceed the limited amount that you can do the change order, does it, Mr. Ritchie? I don't know what the project, do you have only have a certain amount?
I don't know what amount.
I do not know what the limit is on a change order.
What's the amount of the overall project?
Overall, of the, is it the over, did we bid at each one of them, or did we do the,
Yes.
bid at one overall project?
So the bid included several options. It included an option 1, an option 2, et cetera. Option 2 was the bid that was accepted, and it was the bid that included both projects together.
Did Steve Powell recommend this item? I mean, is that where it came through him?
Yes, Steve Powell recommended this item.
There was a savings too, was there not? Yeah, I'd like that.
Yes, there was.
My thing, I'm just, I
And
just
so,
wanna make sure we don't violate the law, Neil.
Let's let Steve Smith, who's chairman of our street committee, speak to this, please.
Steve brought this to us in our committee meeting the other day, and the bids were made, and then they come back with this, and the actual bid come in at a lower cost. So, this is the reason why this change order is here, to let the company do the whole project versus the street department doing part and the company doing the other part, which in essence is what's gonna do is it's gonna be able to let the project be done and completed all by the same person, which basically eliminates Buddy coming in 1 week and maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, the company coming in and doing the rest of it. But basically, the bid that originally was out there got to be lower, so now they can handle the whole project themselves at a lower bid. So that's what the change order is. So this is what it's gonna cost us now, which is lower than it originally was bid. So they can do the whole project.
It was bid about $12,000 for this part,
Yeah, well, I think it was like $12,000 originally.
just a little over.
So it's going from 12,000 to 9,800?
Yes.
Then there won't be a problem, then there won't be a problem, there won't be an issue, I just,
On the change order.
there won't be an issue.
That's
When-
where you're increasing.
That's what I'm saying, that was my question, was it increasing, so it's, thank you.
No, it's not an increase, actually a decrease.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Smith, Council Trammell. Other discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item H, discussion and possible action regarding increasing golf course fees for regular play at a rate of $2, making the weekday rate $24.50 and the weekend rate at $25.50. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion Thompson,
Second.
second Smith. Discussion.
Hey, Mr. Mayor,
Sure.
I guess this is, you've talked to Mr. Bowman about this. I'm glad they're finally increasing the rates. To me, it's still way too low. And I know the golf course is trying to make some more money that way, but I guess we'll just do this and see how well I'd be interested to see if he actually, I doubt he'll lose anybody for $2 more.
Oh, no.
But if the median range for golf, just in the United States, for 18 holes in the cart is around 36.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know, that's still pretty low, but I'm glad they're raising it, but I guess he'll just come back and tell us at some point.
Correct.
You know, what,
Mr. Bowman did do his homework, and so in your packet, you have the sheet.
I
You have
saw
the
that,
sheet that
yeah.
has all of those rates in there. And so in this area, aside from Cherokee Hills Golf Club, which is $60.
Clarimore's still closed, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
Claremore is still closed, Heritage Hills is still closed, we're still just, we're gonna be competitive with all of those rates. We're above some and we're below some.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in the middle. Mr. Bowman, as he spoke to Park Board, he'd estimate that this rate increase would affect, if play stayed the same as it is right now, would
Yeah.
affect probably $60,000
Okay.
for us in a year.
Yeah.
And so that's significant.
Yeah.
Did they consider raising the membership rates or anything?
No,
Okay.
no, the membership rates have not been considered to raise.
Or the seniors rates or anything? Okay, thank you.
No.
You worried about your senior rate?
Yes, I am.
30 would have been a good round number.
Yeah. We'll see how it works.
Very good. Any other discussion? Let's call for vote.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 7, committee reports, budget personnel. Brakefield is not here.
Next Tuesday?
Anything?
Next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday, a week from tonight, is the budget presentation, and that'll be from our city accountant as well as myself. And would encourage everyone to attend if you'd like, or to tune in if you'd like. Item B, ordinance insurance. Shropshire,
We're not ready yet, are we?
No.
Okay, not at this time.
stand by. Very good. Street committee, Mr. Smith.
Right, I don't have another change order. I have nothing at this time.
Thank you, sir. Item 8, unforeseeable business. There is none I'm aware of.
Motion.
Item
Second.
9, adjourn.
Yes,
Motion,
second.
Ketcher. Second, Smith. Call for vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Doing something, reading something.
Motion carries. We'll call our Prior Public Works Authority to order. Item 2, approval of minutes of July 21, 2020 meeting.
Make that motion.
Motion
Second.
Smith, second Shropshire. Discussion? Call for vote?
Nance,
I'm sorry, approving the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, abstain.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Abstain.
Heckler,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 3, unforeseeable business, none. Item 4, adjourn.
Motion.
Motion Catcher, second Smith. Call for vote?
Yes.
Sure didn't.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.